Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Our respectful homage to our most venerable Pinot Lokuswami Nohanse, our teacher Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends and dear children, we also, today also, we are here to talk about, to learn about our supremely enlightened Buddha based on the Acharya Manuso, our Pinot Lokusami gave us recently. Based on this, we will talk about our marvelous human being. If you remember the information we learned last week in our last episode, that was about Hiro. We talked about many things about our Supreme Buddha as our Mahabodhisattva. What was the things that we learned? Hiro?
About the three palaces the King Suddhodana made for um, for the prince. So first one is Suba, then the first one is Ramya Suramya Suba.
Very good. Rame Subba. He led a very comfortable life, very happy life, very free and delicate. And then he was so kind to everybody, so soft. He had a big heart, and he had a very delicate body. As a prince, he lived in a palace with all the luxurious things around, all the things he was given by his father, King Suddhodana. And because of this, the other people, you know the name of the people, name of the class of the people was Sakya. Sakya was the clan. Sakyans, the people from that clan, that family, that royal family, they were not happy about this. They were not happy about the delicacy of the prince because they thought that this prince is going to be the monarch for the entire world, to rule the entire world. Then this prince will not be strong enough because he is so delicate and soft. He should be so strong, and then he should be very skillful, very strong, and he is not an expert. They complained to the king, and then the king was not happy about this complaint. And he went to the Prince Siddhartha, and said about this. My dear son, Prince Siddhartha, the people are not happy about your delicacy. And then the Prince Siddhartha said, my dear father, I will show my strength to the people. I will show my talents, my skills, my all of my skillful abilities to the people, and I asked them to gather in the royal what is it called, yard. And then king organized a big ceremony to show them the skillful abilities of the Prince Siddhartha after 7 days. Remember? And all the people gathered after 7 days around the king's courtyard. And then the first seats were arranged for the high class families. And all the Sakyans gathered together to see the skillful things about our Prince Siddhartha. That was about sports. That was it's a big tournament actually. I will show you a picture of that. Not this, please. Okay. No. Do you see this Prince Prince Siddhartha is unsurpassed in his skills. Remember? And then he was so strong and no one could believe. And then being in the palace, and he asked four experts in archery. Archery is the the sport that they played with bows and arrows. Am I right, Dinodaham? Archery or archer, the person, okay?
Hey, my son, sir.
Okay, and then he asked the king to stand four archers in the four corners of the courtyard. That was a very huge courtyard. And then uh, the Prince Siddhartha gave them 30,000 arrows to each. 30,000 arrows to each. And then Prince Siddhartha stood in the middle of the courtyard. Did you get what I mean? And all these four archers standing in the four corners of the courtyard, having 30,000 arrows in their hands with a bow, and then asked them to shoot him continuously, without stopping. He asked them to shoot the prince, and then the prince had a pole with a diamond tip. With a diamond tip in his pole, he had that. And then these archers standing in the four corners said that, oh, this prince is so delicate, he's so soft. We are not going to hurt him, dear king. Please do not ask us to do this. And then the prince Siddhartha in a high voice said that, I am strong. You don't want to worry about this. And I will show my skills. And he said that. So these people, four people, were excited and started shooting to the prince. And then all of a sudden, Prince, with a very skillful manners, he blocked all the arrows. How many arrows, maybe?
90,000 euros.
Either 90,000, maybe more than that, I guess. 30,000 for each. Then, Nikhil, how many arrows?
120 euros.
Very good, very good. 120 arrows he blocked, and then all the people were surprised, and then they were amazed with the skillful things about Prince Siddhartha, and all of the ornaments they had in their necks, around their necks, they throw to the prince as a gift, as a prize. Okay, and then one more time, and then the king Suddhodana asked, are there any people in this world that is very skillful like this, dear prince? And he said, the prince Siddhartha says, no, dear king, there is no anyone else in this world as skillful as this. I am the only one, he said. Absolutely. See in the picture, you see the prince is so strong and smart. And then behind the prince, you see the King Suddhodana and the queen. Dimal, who is the queen? Name of the queen behind the prince. Okay, Hiro?
Prajapati Gautami.
That's very good. That's Prajapati Gautami. And by the side of the prince, there was a beautiful lady in the picture. Do you know them?
It's Queen Yashodhara.
Very good. That's Queen Yashodhara. He's married now. And then one more time, the prince asked all these four people uh, to stand in the four corners. And then prince said, being in the middle of the courtyard, I will shoot to all these four people with one arrow. Are you okay to do? Are you okay for that? And prince asked them to stand in the four corners, and then he is going to shoot with one arrow to all these 4 people, and then they were so scared. They were so frightened. Oh, we are going to be killed by the prince. And then prince said, oh, no, no, you don't want to worry about that. And then for these 4 people, you should stand 4 banana trees. And then they erected banana trees in the 4 corners of the courtyard, and then uh, tying he tied a long red string at the end of the arrow, and then he shot the banana trees with one arrow, and all of a sudden he grabbed it when that came to him. And people were surprised that the red long string was gone to the, how do you say that, through all these banana trees. That was the skillful things that the prince said, and then the people were amazed. And then the king came to the prince and again questioned, is there anyone in this world that is so skillful like this? Then the prince said, no, dear king, I am the only one in this world that is so skillful like this. Hearing people, he was like, he was praised. And then all the Sakyans were happy, and this prince is very suitable for the monarch king. And then we are not afraid about the threats and challenges from other kings, and this prince is suitable for the kingdom. They were happy. And then prince is living in the palace with Yashodhara in a very happy life. But always he was curious about this life. What is this life? And what is gone in my life or something? And then something very strange happens. You remember this? The surprising foresights. Okay? And then maybe Imash will read this if you're okay. Oh, a different one? Mevan? Okay. Mevan is silent. And anybody else? Dulina.
Silence. I didn't hear you properly.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes. It's your chance.
The surprising foresights. Our Mahabodhisattva, the Prince Siddhartha, was always curious about this life. One day, he asked the charioteer Channa to take him on a series of rides through the countryside.
Okay. So he was going for a ride to enjoy the royal park. In the royal park they have so many things, and then the golden chariot with white 4 horses he had in his cart, for his cart, like a divine palace. It looked like the divine palace he was going on. And then you remember the name of the chariot. Actually, we had that on the chariot. Anybody has? What was Kevan? What was the name of the chariot? Charioteer.
The name of the charioteer was Channa.
Okay, very good, very good. Channa was born. When he was born is, when was he born? If you remember anybody else? Channa was born.
Channa was born at the same time as Prince Siddhartha was born.
That's very good. You remember everything. That's very good. The Channa is taking this prince to the royal park that looked like a divine chariot. And then, children, this is the first sight actually he saw. Seen an old man. An old man? What is this? An old man. Old man, it's not a weird, it was not a usual thing that he saw in his usual life. And then maybe, okay, Dulina will read this. In an old
Oh,
man.
yes, and I say,
Yes.
so seeing an old man On this journey, he first saw an old man. He was surprised by the sight of aging. When the prince asked about this person, Channa replied that aging was something that happened to all beings alike.
Okay, and then that old person, you see that is frugal, and then it's not like a normal old person that we see normally in our life. That person was very, very weak, and he had gray hairs, wrinkled skin he had, very weak, unable to walk, and then he's like um, he didn't have teeth in his mouth, decayed and discolored and unable to move actually. At the end of the life he was living. And then this is not a normal sight. And then how did this prince saw such a strange thing in his life? Because you know that King Suddhodana stopped all these bad things for the prince to see, and the Suddhodana did not want him to see anything bad, anything that can change his mind. Then how did he see such a thing in his life? And he stopped, he blocked all the things. Anybody else who knows this answer? How did he?
Devas did this.
Okay, that's very good. This is not a real person he saw. That was a Deva. Deva is a divine being. How did he see? So the divine beings were so excited until the prince gets his great renunciation, because they were waiting for him to become the Buddha, to listen to the Dhamma. Why? Do you remember that they were invited mm, the Deva? Who was the Deva's name when he was in the Tusita heaven? Daniela, do you remember the name of huh? The name of the Deva as Mahabodhisattva lived? Yeah. Okay. Anuja? Very good. Yeah. He was the king Deva Santasita. And then all the divine beings were excited and then waiting for the Bodhisattva to become the Buddha. And then they gave these strange sights to the Prince Siddhartha to see. A Deva came as an old person. And then the prince was so surprised to see this. And then he questioned charioteer Channa, what's that? That's so strange. I have never seen such a scene before. And then Channa said, my dear prince, that was an old person. And then the prince questioned back, my dear Channa, what is an old person? And he said that the people get old. All the people who are born in this world is subject to old age. And then the prince was surprised to listen to this. Am I also subject to get old then? Yes, my dear prince. All the people, all the beings who are born in this world get old. If I am subject to get old, I don't want to enjoy the sensual pleasures in this royal kingdom, in the royal park. We are not supposed to go to the royal park, and we will go back to the palace. They turned around the chariot and went back all the way to the kingdom, to the king's palace. And being in his royal kuti, royal room in the royal palace, he was thinking about what was that? That was so strange. That was weird. I saw. I am also subject to get old. And later on, dear children and dear people, the Buddha preached that on that moment of the Prince Siddhartha saw this old person, his vanity of youth. You know this word? Vanity of youth. Who knows the meaning of this word, vanity of youth? Minupa, how do you explain? Okay, that was the pride, that was the intoxication of becoming youth, becoming strong. That's the reason, okay, that's the meaning. And he eradicated that as Mahabodhisattva. With the first scene of this old person, he eradicated that vanity of youth in his life, okay? And then the second, if you remember the second sight he saw, that was, anybody else? What was
A
the
sick
second?
person.
Uh-huh. Okay, we will see that. And then I will give this chance to, okay, to Winnie.
And my son Wansi, seeing a sick man. Then secondly, he was shocked by seeing a sick person badly suffering from a bad disease. Once again, the prince was surprised at the sight. He questioned Channa, and he explained that all beings are subject to disease and pain. This sight too troubled the mind of the prince.
Okay, he went back. He went back to his palace and was thinking about. Prince Siddhartha was thinking. Channa said that all the people are subject to sickness. I am too. Then what is this? What's the meaning of this life? What's the meaning of this suffering? And then what is this? And on that occasion, the Buddha said that on that occasion, he eradicated the vanity of health, which means that as healthy people, they have a pride, oh, I am healthy, and they are intoxicated and they do something really bad because they do not know that they are subject to sickness. Okay, the Prince Siddhartha eradicated that bad feeling. Okay, and then that sick person also was a divine being, very stinky, very weak, maybe throwing up, coughing, unable to breathe, screaming, helpless, looked very sorrowful and full of suffering he had. And then he went back. And after some time, he was planning to come to enjoy the royal palace. All of the time, he was been enjoying in the royal palace. King Suddhodana gave him everything to stop him going for homelessness into the whole the public life. And then the next chance is for Aga.
Seeing a dead body, the first sight he saw was a dead body. As before, Chanya explained to the prince that death is an inevitable fate that befalls everyone. After seeing these three sights, Siddhartha was troubled in his mind and sorrowful about the sufferings that have to be endured in life.
Sadhu, sadhu, I rejoice the good merit of reading the Dhamma. And then what do you know about a dead person? What is a dead person? Have
Do
you
you
ever
have
heard about death? Yes?
my son answer?
Uh-huh. What is it?
They have passed away and they have gone. Their vinyan has gone to another life.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you are not scared to talk about death, maybe I can say something. They never return. They are gone, right? We cannot see the people who are dead again in this life. Is that true? Yes, they are gone. And then they vanish. We do not see the bodies. They do, as a dead body, they do not move. They do not speak. They do not blink their eyes. They cannot see. They do not eat. They do not do anything. They are dead. They do not breathe. Right? That's the nature of the dead body, generally speaking. Huh? And then this is the first time the Prince Siddhartha saw a dead body. People were crying behind and then screaming. All those were the divine beings. And then only the memory remains in this world about dead people. And then Prince was excited. You know, he was very wise to take everything into his wise consideration. He went back to his palace and was started thinking about death. Everybody is subject to death. Everybody dies in this world. Then what's the meaning? Where is the answer for the death? How can one escape from death? No one. Then that was something very, very powerful sides. All these three sides. Remember, the first one was the old person, and then the second one was
Sick person.
sick person, and then the third side was
A dead
a
person.
dead. Yeah, and then seeing the dead person, he said that as the Supreme Buddha, he preached that for the first time he saw this death, he eradicated the vanity of life, vanity of the strength of life, like vanity of life, okay, the pride of life. He said that he eradicated that intoxication. And then the fourth side he saw was, anybody else who knows about that?
A person that has gone into homelessness.
Okay, it was a monk. And then Peter, are you ready?
Can't see it on the screen.
Yeah, let me show you. Okay. Sorry, I'm late. Yes.
Seeing an ascetic.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing the above three unexpected sights, Prince Siddhartha came upon the fourth sight. That was an ascetic who had devoted himself to finding the reason of suffering. Suffering of aging, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death. The ascetic gave him hope that he too might be released from the sufferings arising in life. He was determined to follow the same life in search of an answer for the question.
That's wonderful. He was thinking in the royal palace, how can we find the answer for these three questions? Getting old, getting sick, and then death, dying. And I just need to find the answer for the whole world. And then this ascetic is calm and peaceful. He does not have a family, and then renouncing, and he does not make money. He goes from house to house for alms food, meditating, and he is looking for an answer for these three questions: sickness, old age, and death. I should be the same. He was determined. That ascetic gave him the hope to find the answer for the question. And then these are very, very important things we learn. Okay, and then next. Okay. Now, the Prince Siddhartha was about to go forth from homelessness, from the home into homelessness, to become an ascetic. He was planning, and then he just needed to go to the city, and then he returns. The next slide was this. When he was coming here, something strange happened in the royal palace. What was that? Now he is ready to leave the palace, and something strange is happening, something very new. That was something very excited. What was that, Hiro? You did.
Prince Rahula has been born.
Right. If you read the text,
Prince Rahula is born on the Asthala full moon Poya day.
yeah.
Rahula was born on the same day when Prince Siddhartha renounced the throne by leaving the palace. Prince Siddhartha was preparing himself to leave the palace.
Okay, very good. And then the next. So he was like this. Rahulo Jato Bandhanang Jatang. Now the prince is ready to leave the palace. But Rahula is the, what is the meaning of this? Rahulo Jato Bandhanang Jatang. I just give this chance to read Arjuna. Arjuna. Yes.
When he received the news of his son's birth, he replied, Rahulo Jato Bandhanam Jatam. That means a Rahu is born, a settler has arisen. That is an impediment to the search for enlightenment. Accordingly, this son was named Rahula the settler.
Okay. Sadhu, sadhu. So all of a sudden he received the news that he had a boy from Yashodhara. That was Rahula. Rahula is the person who is disturbing something, and then he said that Rahulo Jato, a disturbing person, is born, and Bandhana Jata, the fetter is arisen. And then all of a sudden he came that, well, that's a good name for my son. That was Rahula, his prince. So Rahula is not a normal person who came behind the Supreme Buddha as Mahabodhisattva. Countless times he was born as Mahabodhisattva. He became the son. He became the son of Mahabodhisattva. And then he dedicated his life to fulfill the perfections of Siddhartha Gautama, Siddhartha Mahabodhisattva. Why? If you remember the Vesantara Jataka story, in the Vesantara Jataka story, Mahabodhisattva gave the children for servants. As servants to be, as servants, he gave the children to the person. And then this Prince Rahula dedicated his life for his father to fulfill the perfections, to become the Supreme Buddha. And then Prince Siddhartha, after seeing this incident, he just wanted to go around this city a little bit, and all of a sudden he heard something very strange by Isa Gautami, maybe you have heard this word. She said, Nibbutapada, looking at this prince, his royal prince, Siddhartha. She was living in her royal palace, and being in her royal palace, what is called in the palace, she said this, Nibbutapada. I will just say this to you in Pali. Nibbutapada by Princess Sita Gautami. Nibbuta nuna sa mata. Nibbuta nuna so pita. Nibbuta nuna sa nari. Yasanam idasopati. Yasayang idasopati. And then the meaning is, Linda?
Yes, Bhante. A mother becomes so peaceful if she has such a son so peaceful. A father becomes so peaceful if he has such a son so peaceful. If a woman has such a peaceful husband like him, she becomes absolutely peaceful.
One more time, maybe.
A mother becomes so peaceful if she has such a son so peaceful. A father becomes so peaceful if he has such a son so peaceful. If a woman has such a peaceful husband like him, she becomes absolutely peaceful.
That's very beautiful. Sadhu, sadhu. So I want you to remember the stanza in Pali, and then you can repeat after me, okay? Nibbutanu na samata, nibbutanu na sopita,
Nibbuta nuna sopita,
nibbutanu na sanari,
nibbuta nuna sanari,
yasayang idhisopati,
yasayang idisopati,
nibbutanu na samata,
nibbuta nuna samata,
nibbutanu na sopita,
nibbuta nuna sopita,
nibbutanu na sanari,
nibbuta nuna sanari,
yasayang idhisopati.
yasayang idisopati.
Okay, listening to this beautiful stanza by Kisa Gautami, the prince was so happy about this, and he gave his necklace with gold. It cost 100,000 golden coins. He gave as a gift to her. Okay, and then he came back to the palace. That was the night the prince Rahula was born, and then at that night there was a beautiful party in the kingdom, in the king's palace. And then after that dance, maybe this is the night, the prince is still in the palace. He did not get his renunciation, and then what happens? He saw something very it's not beautiful to see. Anuja.
Yes, Bante. Seeing the dancing girls. Before they looked like divine girls, but now some dancers snort their spittle fell from their mouths. Some were brushing their teeth. Others mumbled into. Their hair and clothes looked black as they slept. Some slept with their mouths open. Seeing the foulness of this, a strong feeling of detachment arose in the Bodhisattva. His desire for sensual pleasures completely disappeared.
Okay, right?
Bante.
Sadhu, sadhu. You understand that? After the party, he saw something very not pleasant. And then the dancing girls were tired and they are not in a proper order. The prince saw this. Then he started thinking, what is going on? Is this the real life? Is it the real beauty of this life, of the people? And he was thinking, this is not something, this is very, very actually disgusting. And then he was planning to leave the palace right now. And all of a sudden, he thought about his son, Prince Rahula, and he thought that I just see my Prince Rahula, my son. And then he peeped in the room of the where the Princess Yasodhara was sleeping with his small son, the infant. And then he came out. And he came out, he saw that he just thought that I should my little son, but he thought that if I touch, Yasodhara will wake up, and then my journey will be stopped by that. And then he came out of the palace and said, Channa, again, Channa, remember Channa, the charioteer. He asked Channa to arrange the horse. That horse was, remember the name of that horse?
Kantaka,
Kantaka, yeah, Kantaka. And then Channa went to the Kantaka and said that, oh, the Prince Siddhartha is getting ready to leave. You are the good surrogate host to help him. And then Prince Siddhartha, the Kantaka came to the Prince Siddhartha and he said like this, my dear son Kantaka. He patting on the back of Kantaka. He says, my dear Kantaka, for a single night, ride me to cross over. Give me a ride to cross over to the forest, okay? Becoming a supreme Buddha, I will make others cross over the ocean of samsara. That's beautiful. Give me a ride to cross over to the river, to the forest. And then after becoming a supreme Buddha, I will make others cross over to cross over the ocean of great samsara. That was beautiful. And then this thoroughbred horse is very strong, is very beautiful and very wide. And then if you remember the birthday of this thoroughbred horse Kantaka, that was
On the Supreme on Siddhartha's first birthday.
good children. Good, good, very good. Again, on the same day when the Supreme Prince Siddhartha was born on Friday. And then we will talk about the Kantaka, and then Kantaka. This is the story about Kantaka. Kantaka mansion. What is it? I remember that we talked this in a different program also. Kantaka mansion. He died. They got their renunciation to the river Anoma, and all of a sudden, okay, we will read. This chance is to Dinara, the first one. Are you ready, Dinara? Okay, this is Kantaka's mansion. He was born in, he died and he was born in the heavenly world, the first part.
Kantaka's mansion, Muggalabanti. Dear Devata, the mansion in this heaven travels in all directions, shining brightly like the full moon. The leader of stars surrounded by the constellation. It shines as brightly as the rising sun. Beryl gold crystals, silver cat's eyes, pearls and rubies decorate the floor of this mansion. The pillars are extremely beautiful. This mansion is beautifully made.
Sad. I rejoice the good man. Okay, the Kantaka died and at the river Anoma because he was shocked about the Prince Siddhartha's leaving, and he was born in the heavenly world. As a Deva, he speaks, the Mahamuggalanabhante visits the heavenly world and meets this Deva, and he is speaking like this. And then, Chamudi, what about the next paragraph, this red one?
There is a beautiful lotus pond with many divine fish. It is filled with clear, sparkling water, and its bottom is covered in golden sand. Various types of lotuses and white lilies bloom in the pond. When the breeze blows, a sweet fragrance spreads throughout the air. There are two beautiful forests on opposite sides of the bank of the pond. The trees are full of flowers and fruits.
Okay, this is the nature of the heavenly world. And the next paragraph is for Dolinas Malli.
The comfortable chair you are sitting on is made of gold and decorated with divine cloth. You are surrounded by many goddesses, like the god Sakka. Those mighty goddesses, decorated with beautiful ornaments and flowers, entertain you. You are as happy in your mansion as a leader of gods.
Okay. That was Kantaka as Deva, he was born. Shivan, the next paragraph is for you, the green one.
It is filled with the sweet sounds of drums, conches, kettle drums, guitars, and tam-tams. You enjoy the music, dances, and songs. You have received various divine sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. Dear Deva, you shine brighter and brighter in this mansion like the rising sun.
Okay, very good. Sadhu, sadhu. And then Subodha, the red part.
I must answer. How did you gain all these wonderful things? Is this the result of giving or practicing virtue, or paying homage to someone? Please tell me of what meritorious deed this is the result of.
Okay, and then Hiru, the green, the blue part.
My Swamin Vansa, that Deva, delighted at being questioned by Anat Mokallan, gladly explained what he had done that resulted in such great happiness.
Very good, sadhu, sadhu. Laura, Deva says this part.
Deva, I lived in the proud city of
Kapilavattu.
Kapilavattu, which was owned by the Sakin people. My name was Kantaka. I was the dearest horse of Prince Siddhartha, and I was born on the same day as this prince, the son of King Suddhodana.
Sadhu, sadhu, very good. You remember, he was born on the same day when the Prince Siddhartha was born. Dinudaham, what about the next paragraph? It could be a little longer.
Hey, my sons. One day at midnight, Prince Siddhartha renounced the palace life in order to seek enlightenment. He touched my thigh with his soft, flexible hands and copper-colored nails. While touching my thigh, he told me, "My friend, I am going to achieve enlightenment, and after I have attained it, I will help others in the world to cross over the sansara. So carry me, my friend."
Very good. This was the incident actually at the king's palace. Okay, my friend, I am going to achieve enlightenment, and after I have attained it, I will help others in this world to cross over the samsara. So carry me, my friend. That was the things we were reading, and then next part is for okay. What about Nithil?
I was overjoyed to hear those words. With great delight, I let the prince get onto my back. The famous mighty prince sat on my back and thrilled. I carried him joyfully. As the sun was rising, we approached another kingdom, leaving me and the chariot driver, Channa. Prince Siddhartha departed silently as if we had no attachment to us.
Very good, very good. See? Sadhu, sadhu. I was overjoyed to hear those words. Kantaka says that because he was coming through this samsara to give the support to the Prince Siddhartha to come to this point, okay? Peter, who is sitting behind you?
That's my mum.
Oh, hello. Do you like to read the next paragraph? This one.
I licked Prince Siddhartha's sacred feet with their copper-coloured toenails, and he was about to depart. We watched the great hero entering the thick forest with tears in our eyes. As soon as he was out of sight, I suddenly got very ill. Right there and then, I died.
Okay, Sadhu Sadhu, it's beautiful reading, rejoicing the good marriage. He was shocked to say goodbye to the prince, and he died. He died in the shock. He was so sad. And then Aga, next read paragraph.
Through the power of that meritorious deed, I have received this heavenly mansion. I enjoy this heaven immensely, surrounded by all the divine pleasures.
Sadhu, sadhu. And then Peter again.
One day, other Devas were rejoicing, having heard that Prince Siddhartha had attained supreme enlightenment. When I heard that, I was overjoyed. Based on that joy, I will attain Nibbana one day. Bhante, when you approach the greatest teacher, the Supreme Buddha, please worship the Blessed One, saying, Deva Kanthaka worships you with his words and by bowing his head.
Sadhu, sadhu. I rejoice your beautiful reading. And then as the Devata, Kantaka, he asked the Mahamuggalana Bhante, when you go back to the human world, say that I worship the supreme feet of the Supreme Buddha. As a Devata, he said. And then Senila?
Soon I too will go to see the matchless teacher who won the battle. It is extremely rare to see such a supreme Buddha, who is unshaken by the ups and downs of the world. He is the true protector of the world.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu. And then Dimal.
On the later day, recollecting the help of the great teacher and feeling grateful and thankful for his teachings, Devakantaka went to see the Supreme Buddha. Having listened to the Buddha's teaching, he understood it and gained the eye of the Dhamma.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu. So later, the day of recollecting the help of great teacher, he helped that, okay? And feeling grateful and thankful for his teachings. Devakantaka went to see the Supreme Buddha later on. Having listened to the teachings of the Supreme Buddha, he understood it and attained the eye of Dhamma, which means he attained the first stage of the enlightenment. He was so lucky because he was coming through this samsara to give the support, to be the support to the Prince Siddhartha. Minupa, are you there? Tell us something for the last paragraph.
No, but that's answer.
No,
Deva Kantaka removed self-centered view, doubt, and wrongful practices, and became a stream entrant. After worshipping the Supreme Buddha's or Supreme Teacher's sacred feet, he disappeared right there and then.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, that was about the thoroughbred horse Kantaka. He was so lucky. He was the only animal that came to the samsara to be the big support to our Prince Siddhartha to become the Supreme Buddha. And this is something we learn about our Mahabodhisattva's renunciation. Remember, we learned many things about our Mahabodhisattva, about the skillful abilities he had, and then the four sights he saw, and he was excited about the life, about the questions, about the issue, and he was excited to find the answer. And then leaving, he had a beautiful son called Rahula, and in the great renunciation, he saw the ugliness of the dancers. And then Nibbutapada, about Nibbutapada we learned, and about Channa, about Kantaka. Kantaka was born in the heavenly world after death. All these things we learned. And then I want you to remember everything, every day about our Mahabodhisattva to become the Supreme Buddha. They came. And then I want you to make your mind faithful about our great Mahabodhisattva and the Supreme Buddha. Then we should go for refuge to the Supreme Buddha as our guide, as our teacher, as our protection. Okay, this is something we learned today. And at the end of the program, everybody should rejoice in the good merit we collect by talking the supremely enlightened Buddha, about the Supreme Buddha.